Good morning, everybody. Jim Feist and Hank Goldberg bringing you a Monday morning report. NFL Weekend 1 is almost over. We've got 2 games tonight. Hank, good morning.
How you doing, Jim?
I'm doing good. Had a good week. Baseball and football were both good. And amazing comeback by Aaron Rodgers last night. What do you think of the coaching that we've seen this weekend in the NFL?
Well, O'Brien, I'm convinced, is not a good coach. I think they could have won that game. Their defense played well enough to win, and their defense is very good. But, you know something, he didn't play his quarterback, who was coming off an injury. He didn't play him all summer. And he played like a guy who had so much rust on him. He was way off his game. And yet he made enough plays in the second half where if he was on his game, they could have won that game. And they came within a half a point of the cover. But the problem with him was that he was so rusty. And I think these coaches who don't play their guys at all in preseason are really offbeat. A good example of that is Cincinnati. That guy was ready to play. He had enough work in the preseason that he went out there and played well enough for his team to beat Luck. That was a good game Cincinnati played, and the quarterback was on his game. You got to play. You got to give guys reps in preseason, or they're not going to be ready when the bell rings. I'm convinced of that.
Yeah, it's
that was a great example. Was that I'll tell you something. That Houston team, they played well enough on defense to win that game, and the quarterback was way off, way inferior to where he was last year.
Yeah, he looked tentative to me. A lot of times when players have injuries like he had, they become a little shell-shocked and they're scared. And I don't blame them. I mean, you never know how your body's going to hold up. What did you think of that comeback by Aaron Rodgers last night?
Well, he's great. And the problem in that game was with Chicago was that, they didn't score in the second half. Otherwise, all they had to do was get a field goal, and they would have won the game. But Green Bay's defense is getting overlooked. They really came back in the second half and did a great job, shut down the Chicago running game, which really shoved Green Bay all over the field in the first half, and that was a big factor too. But he's great, and Chicago went into a little bit of a soft defense, and he took advantage of it.
Yeah, he's an incredible player. He just everything he does. I mean, he doesn't have to play by a rule book. He just goes out and whatever he sees, and it's amazing. It's amazing what he can do. The New Orleans Saints. A lot of people thought this would be a tough representative in the Super Bowl. Boy, their defense was horrendous yesterday. Yeah,
you know something? They always start off that way. If you look at their record in opening games, they've always played terrible. But against Tampa Bay, that was a big shocker. And the books cleaned up on that game because the whole world was on New Orleans. They thought that was going to be a cakewalk for them. And the big shocker was that, Tampa Bay, without their starting quarterback, I think they were better off without that guy, to be honest with you. I think Fitz is a sounder guy, and he doesn't make mistakes. And then, but the defense helped. Breeze was way off, and here's another example of the Saints not ready to play in their opener, but they never are.
Yeah,
they'll come back.
You got that division. Atlanta 0-1, Saints 0-1, Tampa and Carolina both 1-0, and that's the That's the opposite of what they expected at the start. It'll flip
Well,
around.
I don't think so. I think Carolina was favored over Dallas, and Carolina, their defense shut Dallas down, and I think Dallas has big problems. So I wasn't surprised at the Carolina outcome.
No, I was referring to the season-long predictions of who would be first and second, and so on. Yeah, but that'll flip around. Everything will change. Cleveland, of course, they started the season off better than they have in 2 years. They didn't lose.
They didn't win either.
For them, it's an
You know
accomplishment.
what? That game was a perfect example of why they don't win. That game was theirs for the taking, and they found a way to not win.
Well, they've done that for a couple of years. They get down to the end of the game, and they've had a couple overtime losses the last couple of years. They've had very close under 3-point losses. They just don't make the plays when they need to. They play, a lot of times teams play not to lose, and then of course they do lose. I think the Bears.
Well, the coach blew it again. They had an opportunity at the end of the first half, which they screwed up, and they just he's asleep at the switch a couple of times in that game, messed up opportunities. He's not a good coach, and if they had lost that game, I wouldn't have been surprised if they made a coaching change.
I think it'll happen because here's a guy that's won one game in the last 33 games.
They have talent.
They've got a lot of talent.
They got good receivers on that team. The quarterback, by the way, is not good. He played a horrible game.
He did.
And they should make a change right now, a quarterback, because they can win some games.
They've got a lot of talent on defense. They got talent on offense. Their head coach him and O'Brien need to go right away. They're bad.
He was better. By the way, they were better than that team yesterday.
Yeah, the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Hey, Pittsburgh, by the way, he had how many? 4 turnovers in the game. And by the way, they ran up. If you look at the stats at the end of the first half, they had like 160 yards rushing against Pittsburgh's defense. They were pushing them all over the field, and they were behind.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. They were. Buffalo is. They probably won't. That's a team that probably goes 0-16 this year. Buffalo looks just pathetic.
Yeah.
And Miami and Tennessee played the longest game in history. Is that right?
Yeah, they had and I talked to a guy who was sitting in the press box. There was lightning a mile away, and there was no lightning over that stadium, and it wasn't raining that hard there. They were waiting for the lightning to not come there, and it never did come there. They were working on a bad weather report and kept people sitting there for 2.5 hours. That was a disgrace.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. That was pretty bad. Anything? We've got a couple games tonight. I know you have some plays or a play on tonight's game.
By the way, there were a couple of games yesterday that I just wanted to point out. San Francisco overrated. Their defense is not very good, and people who are jumping on that bandwagon should jump off.
I already did. I thought that their defense going into the season was not good, and Garoppolo really wasn't challenged very much. But, they did play one of the best teams, if not the best team yesterday. Minnesota's defense is pretty good. But, the Jaguars have a hell of a defense, too. Those two teams have real good defenses.
Yeah, well, the Jaguars, they were challenged a little bit in that game. The Giants' rookie running back had a breakaway score for 60 yards. He had over 100 yards in the game, and the Jaguars have another tough game this week. I think they go to New England, but they
actually.
And by the way,
I think New England goes to them.
Oh, it goes to them, yeah. There, by the way, were some injuries that are going to be hurtful to some teams. Tennessee lost their their tight end, I think for the year, and Mariota got hurt his arm, had to come out of that game. That was a very costly game for Tennessee.
Yeah, it was. It certainly was. That was a good victory for Miami to come up with a win. And they're not a very good team, but to get a win is always good. Definitely. Hank's plays are at jimfeist.com. He's winning in baseball, winning in football. How was the college weekend?
It was pretty good. I had Texas A&M, and they played Clemson tough. They almost beat them. The game that I was wrong about was the other big dog who got blown out. But that one was a good one for me, and I won more games than I lost. It was, and I'm satisfied in college football to just come out ahead. And yesterday, I had more winners and losers. So, early in the season, I'm going to take that. I was in the last man standing contest, and I took Baltimore. I'll tell you, Buffalo is the worst team in football, no question about it. Yeah. And Peterman's not going to last. He can't play in this league. It's a joke.
Yeah, it's really bad there. And I mean, Allen is just too young right now. He's not ready. If he'll ever, I don't know, but they need somebody up there. They need to pick up somebody off the waiver wire or something. They're pathetic. But anyway, Hank, have a good day. Thank you very much. Again, everybody.
Two good games tonight. I'll tell you, you'll see the Jets quarterback tonight, the rookie, going into Detroit. I will caution you about that. Detroit's got an excellent secondary, so we'll see what happens there. And of course, the Rams will debut at. One interesting thing about the Rams playing the Raiders in the Coliseum, and that is who's got the home field advantage. There's a lot of that used to be the black hole. Remember that?
Yeah, and it's still some of the worst field conditions in football until the baseball season is over and they turf it up. It's pretty bad conditions there, so keep that in mind as well. Thanks, Hank. I appreciate it. Appreciate your time. Have a great day.
Okay, you too.